Hey, welcome back. Happy Friday. This is a video lesson for Every Day I'm Calculating for Friday, May 15th, 2020. So here we are, back at it, working on problem solving with systems of equations. Here we have a problem. It's about Roberta. She has $4 in dimes and quarters. She has 5 more dimes than quarters. Write a system of equations that you could use to find how many dimes and quarters she has. So again, it's not asking, similar to yesterday, not asking us to solve it. It's just asking us to write a system of equations. So if you haven't kind of caught on yet, these problems have not one, but two. Well, that would be four. Two variables. So that's where I would like to start. Okay, identifying kind of what you're figuring out. What we're trying to figure out is how many dimes and how many quarters. So at the end, you should have dimes, you should have quarters. So that's a big clue about what you should use for your variables or what your variables should represent. So I would do D for dimes. That's going to be equaling our dimes. And my other one would be quarters. And you guessed it, I would do Q for my quarters. Okay, so now this is going to help me kind of, again, wrap my mind about what the question is asking. You really want to take a second and really try to unpack the problem. So D is for dimes, Q is for quarters. Okay, now system of equations means we have two equations, and these equations kind of work back and forth. We can use them and hopefully help solve the problem using each other. So the first equation says Roberta has $4 in dimes and in quarters. Okay, but she has 5 more dimes than quarters. Okay, so you would say that she has dimes equals 5 more, so 5 plus Q. Okay, does that make sense? Because her dimes, represented here by D, is equal to the quarters plus 5, because she has 5 more. Okay, so that would be my first equation. My second equation is that she has 4 dimes. Now, this is where a little bit of prior knowledge is going to come into play. We don't know how many of each she has, but we're going to use the value for the quarters to multiply together. So I know that dimes equal 10 cents. So I would do 10 times D, because there's 10 cents for every dime, plus I would do 25 times Q, because there are 25 cents in every quarter, and that's going to equal $4, or in this case, 400. Now, you might have noticed that I took out all of the decimals. Okay, I could leave them in there. Okay, I could do 0.10 or 10 hundredths. I could do 0.25 or 25 hundredths, and I could do 4 or 4.00. But if I take my decimals out, it's going to equal the same thing. Okay, and but let's make sure that we understand what we're doing here is the dime value is 10 cents. The quarter value is 25 cents. That's where those numbers came from, because they're nowhere up here. And the reason why I put those values in there is because we know that the total amount of what she has is $4. So this will help us to break out how much of each coin she has. So the first sentence equation would be D equals 5 plus Q. My second equation would be 10D plus 25Q equals 400. That's how we would set up our system of equation to solve this. This, I think, is the hardest part of all of it. In talking with many of you during office hours, once you get to this point, you're pretty good at solving it. It's extracting the information from your problem to solve it. So really what I want you to do is stop and think, what is the problem really asking me? And then what variables should I use? What should they represent? And then take it line by line. And I think that would help immensely. So today's Friday. You have a problem of the week. You have IXL due at the end of the day, and then today's daily lesson. Work hard. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here on Monday. Thanks, guys.